like, this is what's so frustrating about people. It's like, well, you wouldn't exist in China. First of all, you're wrong. There are infinitely more successful versions of me in China. They're just hawking products, okay, like lipstick and shit like that, okay, instead of doing political commentary, if that's what you want to talk about.
There you
How President Trump's tariffs could impact future July 4th fireworks celebrations. Okay, let's see what's going on CNBC's Make It. Elise Lightyear, 35, traded a hectic New York City life for China and now lives large on $30,000 a year. This is surprising coverage from CNBC.
For the typical American, there is a lot of confusion about what life is truly like in China. When I tell them how modern the cities are, people are shocked. When I tell them about how low the prices are, people are shocked.
Isn't Chengdu gayest too? There's like, that's a gay city, right?
$4 US for a Michelin recommended meal. The quality of my lifestyle in China is much better than the quality of life I had living in the US. My name is Elise Lightyear. I'm 35 years old, and I moved to China in 2019.
No, gay city is real. It's called Chengdu.
I grew up in the city of Ann Arbor.
And they beat your ass if you don't twerk. They do. They beat your ass if you don't twerk in gay city, Chinese style.
For Michigan, after I graduated college, I moved to New York City and lived there for 10 years. I was working in reality TV production. I was tired of working 70 hours a week for 10 years, being in my 20s. I felt like a 50-year-old woman. I was exhausted. I was living check to check, which sucked. One day I just woke up and it just clicked that this is not the life that I want for myself. I came up with this idea that I wanted to leave New York. I moved to Beijing in 2019 and lived and taught there for 4 years. Then in 2023, I moved to Chengdu and have been in Chengdu ever since. He's gonna let the duck be free. Good luck, Mr. Duck. It was really difficult to say goodbye to my family and friends because I didn't know when I would see them again. I didn't know how we would be able to communicate.
I live in a one-bedroom apartment with my 6-person gay polycule, and life in Chengdu is not good. Do not spread this propaganda. Don't come here. Do not come. Do not come to Chengdu. It's bad. We don't even beat people's asses. They do not beat people's asses if they actually refuse to twerk. I thought they would, but they do not. It's gay city, and they are not beating people's asses if you refuse to twerk.
And I was scared. I was scared of this 15-hour flight that I had to take. I was scared about what food I was going to eat. I was scared about this new career, about being a teacher. I was scared about making friends, but I was ready and I was excited. And I think my excitement trumped my anxiety and my scared feelings. Chengdu is maybe a place you've never heard of, but it is actually one of the biggest cities. Chengdu has a population of over 20 million people, including myself. Currently, I'm a university teacher and I work a total of 18 hours a week, 4 days a week, and I teach freshman first-year university students who already speak English, and I teach them essay writing. I take the subway every single day to work. It's really easy to navigate. All of the signs are in English and Chinese. All of the announcements are in English and Chinese, so it's foolproof. This round-trip subway trip cost me 2 yuan, which is 28 US cents. My current
Hell, man. That is crazy, brother. Everything she just mentioned feels like a flex. Like, she's actually smirking at us, bro, is true. It low-key feels like she's just flexing. 28 cents. can live a life with $30,000 a year, works 18 hours a week, 4 days a week. This shit makes me kind of mad. I'm not going to lie. Because like China is able to do this with nothing. Like China was able to do all of this compared to like America and the amount of wealth that America has. China was able to do this from nothing, dude. Basically nothing. It took a long time. It was a lot of hardship, but god damn. How the fuck do you look at this development over the course of past like 30, 40 years and not realize that capitalism is dead? Okay? Not to say that like China is a full-blown socialist state. It clearly isn't. It's a transitional socialist state. But even the mere attempt at like developing a transitional socialist state or having a command economy can create an environment of sustainability and and a government that focuses on development unconditionally. It's crazy. China is not going to allow some small-headed giant to be a streamer. I mean, how many people are me to begin with, chatters? Like, how many people are her versus how many people are me? Okay? The goal is to make people like her live a comfortable life as the one she has found in China. Like, this is what's so frustrating about people. It's like, well, you wouldn't exist in China. First of all, you're wrong. There are infinitely more successful versions of me in China. They're just hawking products, okay, like lipstick and shit like that, okay, instead of doing political commentary, if that's what you want to talk about. But again, you know, we cannot design society around making people like me exist, okay? Even if they do, that's fine. But like, we should not be focusing on designing society around like the endlessly fortunate individuals who have been able to reach levels of success that are impossible to replicate. Okay, the overwhelming majority, the 99% of society, is not doing this. Is not doing what I'm doing. They're doing what she's doing. They're you in the chat. You know, delivering shit, working as delivery drivers for Amazon, working in facilities, working laptop jobs, teaching language, teaching English, teaching education, just, you know, working in education, working in nursing. The goal of society is supposed to be to improve the living standards of the 99%, not to create an environment where some people just thrive, you know? God forbid, bro, people think about people outside his current class. It's ironic because people do think about people outside of their current class all the time. They think about the wealthy all the time. They think about the interests of the wealthy all the time, with the false hope that they will also be in that class one day. That's the problem.
Current yearly salary in China is $30,000 US. $30,000 US a year is poverty in America. But in China, I'm living large. I am upper middle class. For my 3-bedroom apartment with a balcony located.
What is she going to say is the price of a 3-bedroom apartment in Chengdu? If she says anything less than $1,000, I'm losing it.
Downtown Chengdu, just a 5-minute walk from the subway. My rent is $556 per month.
What? In the cheapest city in the United States of America, the only way your rent will be $556 a month at a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment is if you are sharing it with 2 other people that are also paying $556 a month. Okay? That is insane. You need to have at least 1, if not 2 roommates to pay a price like that at a 3-bedroom apartment.
But my job pays half of that as a benefit.
What? What?
Which means I only pay $278 a month for my apartment. Welcome to my apartment here in Chengdu, China. None of this furniture in the apartment actually belongs to me. It belongs to my landlord. This is my living room. I love my living room. It's super cozy. I have this huge sectional couch that I just come to lay on all of the time.
In Stillwater, Oklahoma, that'll be $1,600 plus. I paid $2,300 USD for my 1-bedroom apartment. Bro, if more people watch this, they will revolt. I feel like back in the day, you needed to read the quotations, select quotations from Chairman Mao, okay? Nowadays, you just need to watch a CNBC video, okay? This is, if enough Americans watch this, no matter where they are, it would lead them, into doing a peasant's rebellion.
Bought myself a projector. I've got Netflix, HBO Max, Hulu, all of the channels. This is my balcony that rarely gets
Me and my 2 roomies pay $1,600 for a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom house here in Oklahoma.
used because it's either raining, super humid, or 97 degrees. This is my bathroom. It's small, but it's effective. This is my wardrobe room. This is the 3rd bedroom, but there's no bed. So I've turned it into my wardrobe, closet, get ready space. My 2nd bedroom, I didn't paint it. It came like this. And this is the master bedroom. This is it. Let me show you the kitchen. So here it is. It's pretty small, but I'm just one person and it works perfect for me. This is where I do my laundry. This is my washer. My apartment came with this really.
Do you know anything about life in small cities in China? Is it decent for foreigners? I've had experiences in big multi-million citizen cities, although in the Western Hemisphere, and I found it not working for me. I mean, I don't know, but I don't think if you live in China, you're going to be living in a, you're going to be living anything beyond like a tier 2 city if you're a foreigner.
Really cool built-in feature where I can hang my clothes on this hanging line that again is perfect for shorties like me.
It's so insane to see this inverse existence between the average American and average Chinese person. In 40 years, the average American has gone from modest and comfortable living like this to utterly crushing poverty, while the average Chinese person has gone from poverty to modest and comfortable living. How many American cities have fallen to poverty in 40 years, and how many Chinese cities have risen to luxury in 40 years? Yeah, no, it's that simple, dude. That's it. That's it. That's the reason why people are like, that's the reason why China gets away with like social repression of different sorts. Meanwhile, America's taking away the social libertarian principles that it previously had as well, while simultaneously eroding material conditions. Great.
So other benefits that come with being an international teacher at my school is I have free health care insurance. My job.
This isn't a flex. I could live in my car for $300 a month. Exactly.
Gives me, I think it's like $15 a month for subway fare.
Nice to see you admit to Chinese social repression. What is this implication that I don't talk about this or something? Like, oh, we got him. He's finally admitting to it. Yeah, I talk about it all the time, dude. What the My point is, people still are happy with their living standards because the government is improving their material realities. Okay? It would be nice if they got social freedoms on top. Well, they already have social freedoms in the way that we understand it here in America as well, but like even more social freedoms. Do you know how to move to China asking for a friend? I don't know.
In addition, every year my job gives me a flight allowance, and that comes to $1,200 US. Each month, I think I spend approximately $75 on groceries. I have 4 bags of groceries, mostly produce, and a bottle of sesame oil. Total $9.04. It's really easy to make friends with local people. I have a lot of local friends that I cherish and have taught me so much about their culture. And I also have a lot of expat friends. Why Myanmar? Oh, huh. Okay. Aside from being a university teacher, I'm also a YouTuber, content creator, and with both of those salaries combined, the maximum amount I am able to save is up to $1,000 every month. So when it comes to eating out, it really depends on where I'm going. If I'm going to Cheesecake Factory, then I'm spending US Cheesecake Factory money, $60 for.
It is kind of funny because like America's literally doing things in a base boosted manner that we suspect China of doing, that we claim China is doing. Some of it China is not even doing, right? But we're doing it right now. Like we'll be like, oh, in China you can't say anything. You can't say Xi Jinping is Winnie the Pooh or something, right? And it's like, sure, there's like censorship on social media around that thing. God forbid you talk about Israel, okay, in America. Like, what do you mean? You can't come into the country if you have a JD Vance meme that looks like a porky little baby, okay? We're doing that. We're doing the things. We're doing the things right now in the United States of America that we said China was doing and laughed about for years and years and years. And we're doing a worse version of that. People are getting black bagged and kidnapped for exercising their previously afforded First Amendment rights against a foreign nation state that relies heavily on American subsidies to exist and be violent, Israel. And they're like, but China, they also have 28-cent metros that work reliably all the time.
A meal. But if I'm eating local and going to my neighborhood noodle spot, I'm spending $2 on a bowl of noodles. In a month, I'm spending about $150 eating out. I feel completely safe as a woman of color. I just feel very at ease in this country. Overall crime in this country is quite low. Some of the challenges I face in China is just simply being different. China is a homogenous country, so I stick out like a sore thumb. I cannot go a day being outside without someone pointing at me and saying in Chinese, look, there's a black person, look, there's a foreigner. Another challenge is the homesickness, is missing not only your family and friends, but missing the understanding.
I love glazing China for their infrastructure, but many people in China are incredibly racist towards black people. My friend went to Kunming for a trip, and he said numerous people went up to him and called him, I'm not going to say that word, which is the Chinese version of the N-word. He was shocked people called him that explicitly. Yeah, well, you know, also America. Good thing the United States of America has a really good track record of not allowing any sort of anti-black to exist. That's kind of, I feel like that's basically the entry level, you know? That's just the common, it shouldn't exist anywhere, and yet it still persists everywhere, you know? It's true though. Yes. Especially there's two different kinds of racism in places like this. Okay. There is that's a black person and I've never seen a black person before style racism, which is more like fascination, born out of ignorance. And then there is that you see not dissimilar to the Western world where, you know, some form of chattel slavery existed. There's both. I'm good on going to China, bro. Man, you live in Canada, okay? Good luck. Disparaging China, talking about, oh man, there's anti-black racism in China. Chatter lives in Canada, okay? Just wait until you become a colony of China, and then things will improve. I'm saying it's cool, but it ain't for me. You should, instead of learning whatever dialect they speak in Toronto, you should learn Mandarin, equally as difficult, equally as different from the normal English language anyway, okay? If you want to do trade in the beautiful city of Toronto, you need to learn the Toronto language, Crody, the Toronton dialect.
Understanding of just how to do things.
You're moving like a bucket right now, fam. See, this is what I mean. Don't know what that means at all. that is basically indecipherable, okay? That's basically Chinese to me. I don't know what either of these things, if someone were to be speaking in Mandarin, okay, right now in the chat, it would be equally as indecipherable. Don't know what that is.
That was the hardest part, is that learning curve of trying to figure out how China works. Okay, tea house. With all the money I've saved in China, I plan on buying a house not in the US because can't afford that. I haven't saved enough money to buy a house in the US, but I have saved enough money to pay off a lot of my student loans. And I think I've saved enough money to buy a little casita on the beach in Mexico. Fingers crossed, that is the plan. I've learned a lot about myself living in China. I think my self-confidence has improved through the roof.
I just suspect if it's anything similar to the other Asian countries that I know of and have visited, the biggest L for China, I suspect, is going to be the lack of Mexican culture and Mexican food. That's it. That's like, I feel like that's the biggest L for most countries. It's just without Latin Americans in general, without South Americans in general, it's just like the vibes are different. It shifts.
So you know that saying about New York, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Well, throw that away and apply it to China.
And China, much like many of the countries where there are not a lot of Mexicans or Latin Americans or South Americans in general, will instead have Muslims, which are like kind of like the Mexicans of places like that, whether it be Germany or England. I would say that like both cuisine wise and culturally, they make up for the lack of the global they make up for the lack of members of the global Latina belt.